Hey, y'all, I'm Doug Kees at Musicology in Newnan, Georgia, and we're going to take a look at my song River from my album 11 today. River began as an instrumental acoustic guitar solo piece in Dadgad, which is what this guitar is tuned to. It's an alternate tuning. Instead of standard tuning, your low string is a D, and then an A and a D, and a G, and an A and a D, which is Dadgad. And that tuning popularized in the 60s with Davy Graham and Bert Jansen, picked up by Jimmy Page, used on Kashmir and Black Mountain Side and a bunch of those things. So Dadgad tuning. Altered tunings lets you get combinations of notes that are next to impossible in standard tuning. And that's part of the charm of it, is like these kind of things. If you have followed me on Instagram, a lot of times in the morning, I'll get a cup of coffee and a guitar and go sit out and try to come up with a guitar riff or something in the beginning of a song. And River actually began as one of those with this opening lick. I didn't think of it at the time, but in hindsight, I called the song River. I think a number of the notes in the part that I just played are not actually in the chord D that goes with it. They are outside of the chord or extensions and those kind of sounds. I think that sonically kind of sounded the way sunlight on water looked. So I think that might have been part of the motivation behind the title for that. The song has that first section, and then the second part where it goes to the minor chord, this. And it just alternates those two parts. One of the challenges of instrumental songs as opposed to lyrical songs, in a lyrical song, you might have 3 or 4 verses juxtaposed with 2 or 3 choruses. And you don't get tired of the verses, hopefully, because the lyrics are evolving and changing and the story is developing. In an instrumental tune, your verses, you just have the same melody over and over and over. And so in the interest of hopefully keeping the listener engaged, my solution to that was to change voices and change instruments. So on the recording, the song begins with that acoustic guitar part for the first phrase. And then shortly after that, it changes to this 63 Stratocaster and played with a slide and also a volume pedal. So it has this kind of effect. Which is, in hindsight, is very not guitar-like. And I've had several people comment they didn't realize that was actually a guitar on there. The volume pedal lets you remove the attack of the note. So when I pick the string, you can't really hear it. And then the sound swells in. So it's kind of like a wind instrument or maybe a bowed string instrument like that. And the slide similarly gets away from the actual changes of the frets. So it creates this kind of ethereal sound like that. And so that's the second voice that's heard. And then in the B section of the song, I had another voice, which was this guy. And this is a mid-60s Gretsch Tennessean, appropriately strung with flat wounds, that was given to me by a good friend. And it has a very different sound to the other 2 guitars we just heard. And it plays the melody in the second section. It sounds like this. always thought of the different guitar parts as being kind of like a Beatles tune when, Paul sings the verse and John sings the bridge. And so those guitars are kind of, in my mind, different singers in the band like that. The song repeats those two parts, and then at the end, it just fades out over the long D chord with a bunch of major sevenths and seconds and that sort of thing, and hopefully creates that kind of flowing sense of the river going by like that. All of these songs are on all the streaming sites, also iTunes, YouTube, all that. Doug Kees on Instagram and Facebook, or DougKees.com, my website. I'd love to hear from you and see what you think about those things. Obviously nobody makes money from recorded music anymore because we just stream it for free. So I'm not looking for money, but if you want to help a brother out, share the songs with friends and people that you know that might enjoy it, whether it's this video or the actual recordings from the streaming sites and that sort of thing. And give me a shout and let me know what you think. Thanks, guys. See you again.